All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. We are back for the Feast of Dedication, the closeout of the eighth night on the feast. I hope you have enjoyed this magnificent time where we reflect and on the dedication of not only the temple of the Most High, but also the dedication of ourselves to the Most High and His laws, His statutes, and His commandments. And we're going to go ahead and hand it over to Kenaniah so we can get to our study for this evening.
Man, all praises to the Most High. Uh, you know, I recall, being on different calls and brothers knowing that, we've got these holidays, fastly approaching and this being considered a dark time. I would argue that because around this same time is when, these Maccabees stood up for righteousness' sake and triumph, as was prophesied in the book of Daniel. We know that they served the purpose of the Most High. And it was their saying that, that they would die manfully for the laws of the Most High. And, we know that did occur. Those brothers eventually fell, but while they walked the earth, they gave the enemy hell, and we're going to get back into those readings tonight. Just a quick synopsis of what we've covered so far. We covered how the Greeks had come into the land, that being with Alexander the Greek, and how he died and his kingdom was broken up into 4 different kingdoms. Right. One of those kingdoms being in the territory that was allotted to the Yahudim, or actually not just the Yahudim, but all of Yasharal, that portion of land. And we know that from the readings that we covered last week that Matthias, the father of the tribe of Levi, of the sons of Aharon, was furious with what had been done in the land. These Greeks had come in and defiled the temple. And after Matthias passes on, he gives the mission to his 5 sons to continue to revolt against the powers that be at the time. And we know that Yehudis Maccabeus, Yehuda the hammer, was able to prevail and was able to cleanse the temple and rededicate the altar. Right. We're going to pick it up in First Maccabees chapter 8, shortly after he had rededicated the altar. But First Maccabees chapter 8, Aki, when you get there.
Con. All right, I got it here. Give me one brief. I'm just sharing this to the platforms here. Okay. Okay. We got it right here, Key, and let's get to it. So this is First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1. It says, "Now Yehudis had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, as such would lovingly accept all that join themselves unto them, and make a league of enmity."
Oh, Salak, yeah, that was the end of verse 1, wasn't it?
We'll make a league of enmity with all that would come unto them. Yeah, go right ahead. Right?
Oh, all right, Khan. I just wanted to speak about this the Romans and Yehudis reaching out to them. It doesn't seem like a bad idea at the time. It reminds me of when I believe it was Hezekiah. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was one of the kings that had showed the Babylonians all of his riches. Was it Hezekiah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Khan.
Okay, Khan. How he had opened up the doors to the Babylonians coming in and taking away the Yahudim as captives.
Right.
We know that through this letter, the Yahudim back in antiquity have made contact with the Romans, which, about 100 or so years later, they would come into the land and occupy the land, even occupying it in the days of the Messiah and King, right? So
Right.
we have to be mindful of the relationships that we have with other nations.
Yes.
We know that Torah teaches us to make peace with those who will make peace with us, but not to be tributaries. It is, in fact, for them to be tributaries to us.
Right. Exactly.
We know that in future that will be what's happening. That these nations will be under the rule of righteous Israelites,
Hmm.
and the gates of Jerusalem will be open to be spoiled by these nations bringing in their goods.
Right.
Uh, that is the relationship that we must have,
Hmm.
because history teaches us that when it's not like that, we end up on the bottom end of the stick, right?
Right.
And when we go away from Torah, we end up on the bottom of the stick.
Hmm.
So, when we're a righteous nation, once again, we have to be mindful of these relationships that we have, and that our job is to be the head and not the tail. So
Indeed.
I'll yield there, but please continue. Or you had anything on that?
All praise. No, no, you're exactly right. Spot on, Akeem.
All right, yeah, let's continue.
Continuing, verse 2, it says, and that they were men of great valor, and it was told him also that their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute. Verse 3, and what they had done unto the country of Spain of the winnings of the mines of silver and gold which were there, and there by the policy, Slakia, and that by their policy uh, they had conquered all the places through it, and through it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost parts of the earth, until they had discomfited them and gave them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Beside this, how they discomforted and battled Philip and Purius, king of Shittim, and others that lifted themselves against them and had overcome them. How also Antiochus, king of Asia, had came against them in battle, having 120 elephants and horsemen and chariots, and a very great army was discomforted by them.
Right. So, by this time, the Romans had established a reputable name for themselves as a great army.
Mhm.
Being able to subdue other armies and even having tributaries come to them. We heard about how they had gone into Spain and taken over the mines, gold mines that were there in Spain, and perhaps this is how Yehudis becomes aware of the Romans
Mhm.
from this interaction there in Spain, because we know that uh, we had people of Yahudim that were there in Spain,
Right,
part of the captivity
right,
that had been taken there from the evil king of Babylon.
right.
So, you know, uh, it's one way of how this relationship, or how the notoriety of them might have traveled. But and then also, taking on the king of Asia,
Mhm.
Antiochus. We know that was one of the leaders that was the king of the domain that was there in the land that we were in. So
Yeah.
hearing about that battle, these Romans have gained renown so much that Yehudis decides to make a league with them, and not only them, others that we'll read about. Please continue out.
Oh, no sweat. Verse 7, it says, and how they took him alive and uh, covenanted, it coveted that which such as resign reigned after he should pay a great tribute, and gave hostages, and that which was agreed upon. Verse 8, and the country of India and Media and Lydian, of the goodness of the goodliest countries, which they took of him, and gave to King uh, Emenes, Emenes. Verse 9. Moreover, how the Grecians did determine to come and destroy them, and that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain to fight with them, slaying them, slaying many of them, and carrying away their wives and children, carrying away captives their wives and children, and spoiling them, and took possessions of their land, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to their servants unto this day, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. Shalaki. Verse 11 here. It was told him besides how they destroyed and brought them under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles that at any time resented them.
Con.
But, oh, good.
I was just gonna say, we can drop down to verse 17.
Okay. Verse 17. Uh, in consenting of all the king of all things, Yehudis chose Eupolis, your I don't know what that is.
Eupolymus,
Eupolius. Okay, Slaki, Tolaki, the son of John, the son of Across,
Akos,
Akos, and Jason, the son of Eleazar, and sent them to Rome to make a league of enmity and confederate with them.
mm-hmm.
And you got something from there?
No. I was just saying, yep. That's continuing. His intent. It was in his heart to make a league with these Romans because they were seen as good fighters, and they would have been, I guess, some type of aid to help fight off these Greeks that were in the land. But it's kind of eyebrow raising that they would decide to do that when they know that they had the Most High, and that's all that we need. We don't need this. We were told in the book of Jeremiah not to seek Egypt in times of trouble. Don't seek their help. So likewise, we don't seek the help of other folks, man. We seek now. The Most High might send us help from some other
Mm-hmm.
people, but we seek the Most High first, and
Exactly.
He will give us direction on what to do.
Exactly. Yeah, that was definitely a thing that we need to learn from in these historical writings to not follow the path that some of our ancestors followed, but to make sure that we're sticking to the Torah and dealing with the Most High as closely as possible without any outside interference. So, and they might say, it's easier said than done, but you never know until you're in the heat of it, and these Grecians are pressing you, and you're like, man, what can we do? Well, what we first need to do is focus on the Most High, is going to Him in prayer, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case. So, but continuing here, verse 18, and entreating them that they would take the yoke from them, for they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. So they didn't have us in bondage here. Verse
Yeah,
19.
and that might seem strange to people that we have Israelites that were in bondage and servitude, but that's part of the byproduct of the curse. that
Yeah.
we read in the law in
Yeah.
Devarim chapter 28. You know, if we stray from the covenant, servitude was going to be our reality.
Yeah.
Now, you had these brothers that were seeking to do righteousness, but
Mhm.
overall, Yasharal as a nation was not living up to their end of what our ancestors agreed to,
Right.
right? And we find ourselves in servitude.
Indeed.
But yep.
Indeed. Continuing here, verse 19. And went therefore to Rome, which was a very great journey, and came unto the Senate, where they spoke and said, Yehudis Maccabees with his brethren, the people of the Yahudim have sent us unto you to make a confederacy of peace with you, and that you might register your confederates and friends, that we might register, that we might be registered your confederates and friends. So yeah, they're trying to get put us down so that we're on the good side of you guys here. So verse 21, my goodness. Uh, so the matter pleased the Romans well, and this is the copy of the epistle which the Senate wrote back again uh, in the table of brass and sent to Jerusalem, that they might have been might by them a memorial of shalom and confederacy. Verse 23. Good success be the Romans and the people of the Yahudim by sea and by land forever. The sword also and enemies be far from them. If there come first any war unto the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Yahudim shall help them as the time shall be appointed with all their heart. My goodness. So they pledge and they, what I'm saying, all of the capability to these people.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know, when I read Devarim chapter 20, and
mm,
we learn the rules of warfare,
mm,
it tells us, when you go off to battle and you come across a city or a town,
mm,
you bid them peace. And if
mm,
they don't accept peace, you can put all of them to the sword.
right.
But if they accept your peace, they become tributaries. But
Mm,
they have strayed on the meaning of that chapter in the law.
mm,
We weren't necessarily supposed to be their aides in battle. They were supposed to be our tributaries, but
right.
uh doesn't seem like that message got conveyed to them.
Yeah. I know. Again, I'm sure that backs against the wall. We're dealing with these Greeks, and the oppression is heavy, and the burden is great, and so I'm sure they were trying to find anything that they could, and they thought, man, this will work. If this works, it'll be great. If it
Mhm.
works. But the problem is that it never works because nobody keeps code like we do. We're the ones that stick to the code, and nobody else is obligated to that code, to the code that we're obligated to. So, continuing here, verse 26. Neither shall there give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, weapons, money, or ships, as it have seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenant without taking anything therefore. In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of the Yahudim, the Romans shall help them with all their heart, according to the time of their appointment that shall be appointed them. Neither shall victuals be given to them that take part with them, or weapons, or money or ships, as it had seemed good to be to the Romans. But they shall keep the covenant that is without deceit. Verse 29. According to these articles, did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Yahudim. Howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think uh, to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasure, and whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be grafted or revealed.
Ratified.
Ratified, slacky. Verse 31. As such as touching the evil of Demarius doeth the Yahudim, we have written unto him, saying, wherefore you made a yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates, the Yahudim. If you have slacky, if therefore they complain any more against you, we will do them justice and fight with you by the sea and land.
Right, right. So there we have it right there. We often wonder, well, I used to wonder, how is it that the Romans, came into the land of Yasharal? Rome and Italy is so far away. Like, how did they get all the way down here? But this is how it all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors made a league with them. And we try not to judge them for doing it because they were looking for a way to be delivered from the enemy, but we have to remember who our help comes from and who we seek.
Yeah. And the irony, I think the greatest irony is that the Greeks and the Romans are like, weren't they buddies?
Well, they both come from the same father. The Isles of the Gentiles. They were both uh, sons of the. They were brothers.
Right.
One being Yavan and the other being Kittim.
Okay.
Brothers from the same father.
Yeah.
But we can imagine that there would have been rivalries between them, as there is with most siblings.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they had moments of peace and clarity, and who's to say, that all of this wasn't a scheme just for them to get into the land, knowing that what they would do later in time anyway.
Yeah, because we can all remember, in history class, the Greco-Roman Empire. We had to learn that. Um, so yeah. Anyway, continuing here to chapter 9, First Maccabees chapter 9 and verse 1 here. It says, moreover, when Darius heard of Nicanor and his hosts were slain in battle, he sent uh, uh, Bach, Bakahad and Alchemus unto the land of Judea the second time, and with them the chief strength of his hosts.
Right. So, this Demetrius, being the leader of, the Greek kingdom at this time, uh, you know, remembering well, they probably don't remember, but, a few chapters previous to this one right here, Nicanor, one of the captains of the host for Demetrius, had been defeated in battle and also slain. So Demetrius is trying to figure out what needs to be done regarding this. So, is he just going to go home and forget about this? I don't think so. But we're going to read what indeed did happen.
Okay, kind. And keep in mind as well, Nicanor, the destruction of Nicanor is a recognized time that we enjoy as well, as
Mm-hmm.
this wicked man was causing many problems for the Yahudim and fell. And we have the remembrance of the destruction of Nicanor each year behind that, which would be what, a couple months from here.
Indeed, in the 12th month, the month of Adar, I
Yeah.
believe it is the 13th day of the
Oh,
month, is
oh,
when the destruction of Nicanor is observed.
all right. All praises. So we look forward to that and getting into that again. Continuing here, verse 2. Who went forth by the way of the land, Slaki, who went forth by the way that lead to Gilgal and pitched their tents before Masloth,
Uh-huh.
which is in uh, Arbela. And after they had won it, they slew much people. Also, the first month of the 15th, Slaki, the first month of the 115th and second year, they escaped before Jerusalem. And from there, they removed and went to uh,
Berea.
Berea with 20,000 footmen and 2,000 horsemen. Now, Yehudis had pitched his tent in uh, Elias and 3,000 chosen men with him, who, seeing the multitude of their armies, to he, Slaki, seeing the multitude of the other army, to he so great were so afraid, whereupon many conveyed themselves out of the host, in so much as abode of them no more than 800 men.
Right. So you lose 2,200 soldiers
Mm,
just based on fear
fear.
of this massive army coming, leaving you with 800 men to fight a vast army. You know, it's troubling to hear as
Yeah.
well, because we've heard about thus far of the acts, and knowing that they had been outmanned
Mm-hmm.
and outnumbered in all of these encounters that they had with the Greeks
Right.
up until this point. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what has gotten in the Army's heart at this point, you know what I mean, to leave the side of such a valiant man, you know?
Right. Man, that's heavy. That's heavy right there, for real. Uh, continue here, verse 7. When Yehudis therefore saw that his host slipped away and that the battle pressed upon him, he was sore troubled in his mind and much distressed, for that he had no time to gather them together. Nevertheless, until unto them that remained, he said, let us arise and go up against our enemies, if peradventure we may be able to fight with them. But they destroyed, they disheartened
The
them,
Hordy.
the
Mm-hmm.
Hordians, saying, we shall not be able. Let us now rather save our lives, and hereafter we will return with our brethren and fight against them, for we are but a few. The Yehudi said, Most High forbid that we should do this thing and flee away from them. If our time be come, let us die manfully, for our brethren who let us not slain our honor, manfully for our brethren, and let us not stain our honor. Slaki.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, verse 11. Uh, with the host of Bar Barahads, Bakahads,
I think it's Bakis, but I'm not certain. Not.
oh yeah, Barkeys, removed out of their tents and stood over against them, their horsemen being divided unto two troops, and their slingers and archers going before the host, and they that marched in the forward were all mighty men. and for Barkids, he was on the right wing. So the host drew near unto the two parts and sounded their trumpets. So man, like they got the right idea now. They just gonna man up and just go into it. And if this what it is, then so be it. Verse
Mm-hmm.
13. They also of Yehuda's side, even they sounded their trumpets also, so that the earth shook at the noise of the armies, and the battle continued through the from morning till night. Now, when Yehudis perceived that Barkshi's side, whatever his name is, and the strength of his armies were on the right side, he took him with all his handy men or hardy men, Slaki, hardy men, who discomfited the right wing and pursued them unto the mount uh, and Anstos, Anstos.
Akan, and that's actually Ashdod.
Oh,
There used to be a part of the Philistine territory. It's just a Greek name for Ashdod.
okay. All praises. I have to remember that. Verse 16. But when they but when they of the left wing saw that the right wing were discomforted, they followed they they followed up on Yehudis and those that were with him hard at the heels from behind. Whereupon they were sore battle, insomuch that they were slain on both parts. Yehudis also was killed, and the remnant fled. And Jonathan and Simeon took Yehudis their brother and buried him in the sepulchre of his father in Modin. Moreover, they bewailed him, and all of Israel made great lamentation for him, and mourned all many days, saying, how is this valiant man fallen, and that delivered Israel?
Right, right. So we've read about the acts of Matthias and his sons, and after Matthias passed away, he said, "Let Yehudis be your captain, for he has always been a valiant man since he was a youth." So he took up that mantle and continued to revolt against the Greeks that were in the land, and he ends up dying manfully, like he said he would do, and then he's mourned for, and but verse 22 says, "As for the other things concerning Yehudis and his wars and the noble acts which he did and his greatness, they are not written, for they were very many." So it's many things that he did that we didn't even have liberty to think about. Uh, what I was thinking about, I was thinking about a time that we read in the book of Samuel, how the people begged Samuel to make them a king.
Right.
And the purpose for them wanting a king was for the king to go out and battle against the adversaries.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
These brothers weren't, because we know that later, Dawid would become king, and the Most High grants him an everlasting kingdom, and there would always be a king from the house of Dawid. You're right.
Right.
However, these are Levites.
Yes.
These are Levites from the house of Aharon that have taken up the mantle to go out and battle against the foes of our people. So we enjoy this story. However, we could say that it's not quite the order that had been established. And sometimes situations like that are going to arise where, like right now, I think during the in antiquity, the service of a man would have been up until maybe 50 years old or something like that. But we're living in a day and time now where we can't really afford to retire and take our hands off the plow.
Exactly.
What happens if we do that? And I know I'm kind of drifting away from the subject, but this subject just kind of causes me to think about all of that.
Absolutely.
But then the very next verse, in verse 23, it says, "Now after the death of Yehudis, the wicked began to put forth their heads in all the coasts of Yasharal, and there rose up all such as wrought iniquity. In those days also was there a very great famine, by reason whereof the country revolted and went with them." So we know that when we are living a life contrary to Torah, the Most High is going to send men against us. He's going to send famine and plague. This is the curse that byproduct of the curse.
Right.
But we're gonna fast forward, not fast forward, but jump ahead. I believe we're gonna go to the next chapter. What we say? Chapter 10. Or was it 11 or 12?
I think we looked at here. Let's look at it here. Antiochus Epiphanes. Darius, was this? I don't think, did we need this?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we said we was gonna skip that chapter as well as the next one because it was talking about Mizraim.
Okay, and then on chapter 12.
Yeah.
Okay, con. So yeah, we'll pick up First Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, "Now when Jonathan saw that the time served him, he chose certain men that sent them to Rome to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with them. He sent letters unto the Lacedaemonians
Or Lacedaemonians.
Macedonians, okay, and to other places for the same purpose. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan the high priest and the people of the Yahudim sent us unto you to end Slaki, to the end you should renew the friendship which we had with them and lead as the former time. So pause for a second. Now, in those previous chapters, did we ever get the Romans with us, fighting with us?
So no, they just made threats, and by the time they just made threats to come and help. But I don't remember reading the Romans ever coming into the land to help at this time. Now, the Romans did fight some battles with other Greeks, with Greeks in some of those other kingdoms. We know that at one point they go and take the Greek Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, which was one of, like I said, it was 4 kingdoms. So they had taken over in Egypt, the Romans did, and they had taken over in Macedonia, which was another region of that another one of the 4 kingdoms of the Greeks. But as far as them coming into the Asian part of the empire, they didn't do that. Not until after. Not until sometime after. Now they eventually did, but Jonathan and his brother, not Jonathan, but Yehudis, Jonathan and Simon are gone on by the time that they do come, and in fact, the people who take over after the Maccabees, weren't even Israelites; they were Edomites.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, the Herodian. So the Maccabean dynasty is called the Hasmonean dynasty. They intermarried with some of the Edomites that would go on to be called the Herod or Herodian dynasty. It's where we get the King Herod from.
Right, okay. My goodness. All right. Well, let's continue here in First Maccabees chapter 12, verse 4. Uh, Upon this, the Romans gave them letters unto the governors of every place that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably. And this is the copy of the letter which Jonathan wrote to Macedonians, to the Macedonians. Jonathan, the high priest, the elders of the nation, and the priests, and the others of the Yahudim, to the Macedonians, their brethren, send greetings. Uh, there were letters sent in this time, in times past, unto Onus, the high priest of Darius, who reigned then among you, and significantly that you are our brethren, as the copy of here uh, unwritten do specify. Um, I'm sorry, I'm taken back by that. Wow, I can't believe they wrote that to the Rome to the. This is to the Romans.
No, this is to the Lacedaemonians. Now, the Lacedaemonians are the Spartans, which was one of the isles of the Greeks. Now, this brethren or this kinship that they shared wasn't. It was through Abraham, but it was through, this is what I've read just doing research, that it wasn't through Isaac or through Jacob. It was or through Isaac. It was through uh, one of the sons of Keturah that
Mm,
Abraham had, and it wasn't even a patriarch type of thing. One of the Greeks men married one of the sons of uh, Keturah's daughters.
mm,
So he was still a Greek. He wouldn't have been considered a Hebrew by
mm,
blood. He
mm,
just married a woman that was of Hebrew blood, and
mm.
this is how that union, how they say that the brotherhood was.
Wow, wow. Okay, because that sounds like
But it
something.
makes sense. It makes sense. I don't know if you've looked at some of these Greeks. Uh, some of them can be very ethnic looking,
Yeah,
with curly hair and hair almost like a fro. Not
mm,
all of them, but
yeah,
the Greeks that are in the southern area,
mm,
that was one of the things that separated them from other Greeks. They had an African look to them. Some of them, with, and I say African, but not really African, but just a people of color, like kind of look to them.
right.
Curly hair and ethnic features. Let's say that.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, when I was reading that, I was thinking in my mind, like, wait, that sounds like something that they should have been sending to the Northern Kingdom in Assyria. You know, like, man, y'all need to come out of there and come help us against these, these people here because we're having problems and we need help. That would have been, more acceptable than that. But uh, they was having their own problems as well. So continuing here, verse 8. Uh, at which time Onan entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably to receive the letters, wherewith or wherein declared he, second slacking, declaration was made of the league of friendship. Therefore, we also, uh, albeit we we need none of these things, that we have the Kodesh books of the scriptures in our hands to comfort us, having nevertheless attempted to send unto you for the renewing of the brotherhood and friendship, lest we should become strangers unto you altogether. For there is a long time past since you sent unto us. Verse 11. We are together at times, Slacky. We therefore at all times with ease, both in our feasts and other covenant days, do remember you in the sacrifices which we offer and in our prayers, as reason is, and as it becometh us to think unto you, unto our brethren, Slacky. Verse 12. And we are right glad of your honor. As for ourselves, we have had great trouble in wars in every side, for as much as the king that are round about us have fought against us. Howbeit, we know that we Slacky, howbeit we would not be troublesome unto you, nor to others of our confederates and friends in these wars. So they're asking for help without trying to be a burden, and that's reasonable. But I think when you in a need of help as bad as this was, they should have been. But again, these are other people. So if these were Israelites, I think the urgency would have been higher. But you got to kind of ease into asking somebody who you would consider a friend, to help you. You can't just be like, I need help, because they might come and help your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So, verse 15. Uh, for we have help from Shamaim that, what? Slacky. For we have help from Shamaim that, so what is that?
Secure
Secure. I don't know what I was thinking about.
or secures us.
Secured us, so as we are delivered from our enemies, and our enemies are brought underfoot. For this cause we choose Numerius, the son of Antiochus, the and Antiplater, the son of Jason, and there was and sent them unto the Romans to renew the enmity that we had with them and the former league. Now, we command them also to go unto you and salute to you, deliver you our letters concerning the renewal of our brotherhood. Wherefore, now you shall do well to give us an answer thereto. And this is the copy of the letter which Onus sent uh, Artius, king of Ladonians, to Onus, the high priest, greetings. It is found in writing that the Ladonians and Yahudim are brethren, and that they are of the stock of Abraham. Now, therefore, uh, since this is come to our knowledge, you shall do well to write unto us your of your prosperity. We do write back again to you, your cattle, your cattle and goods are ours, and ours are yours. We commend therefore our ambassadors to make report unto you on this wise. Now, when Jonathan heard that uh, the Boreas prince were come to fight against him with a great host, and with a great host than afore, he remained at Jerusalem and met them in the land of uh, Amathus, and gave them no reprise to enter his country. He sent spies also unto the tent who came again and told him they were appointed to come unto them in the night season. Wherefore, so soon as the sun went down, Jehoiakim commanded his men to watch and to be armed, that the night long, that all night long they might be ready to fight, as sent forth censures round about the host. All right, let me switch this view here. That should help me out. Verse 28. But when the adversaries heard Jonathan and his men uh, were ready for battle, they feared and trembled in their hearts, and they kindled fires in their camp. Howbeit, Jonathan and his company knew it not till the morning, for they saw lights burning. Verse 30. Then Jonathan pursued after them and overtook them not, for they were gone over the river Erodi,
Elithurius.
Elithurius. Yeah, I don't recall that river. I
Yeah,
wonder
me
what
neither. I think it's like a Greek name for it, you
it
know.
was. I was thinking that as well. Like you, I was like, I wonder what the
Mm-hmm.
real name is. Verse 31.
Uh,
Wherefore Jonathan turned to the Arabs, to the Arabians, who were called Zabanians, Zabians, and smote them and took their spoils. Look, he was like, somebody gonna get their butt kicked.
right. And you know, I'm thinking that these Zabideans are the
Yeah,
Sabians.
Fabians. Yeah, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because they
Mm-hmm.
changed the Greek, and I got to get that Greek lexicon because not the Greek lexicon, but I got to get the. There is an apocryphal a concordance, and I got to get that so we can look through these things, and I don't think it's available online anywhere. But anyway, verse 32, and removed there, he came to Damascus and passed through all the countries. Simon also went forth and passed through the countries of uh, Alclon, Al.
Ascalon. That's
Al
another region right there in where the Philistines used to be at.
okay, kind Ascalon, and the holdings there adjoined. From there he turned aside to Joppa and won it. So yeah, they're getting busy and they're picking up. Looks like they're picking up some steam here. Verse 34. For he had heard that they would deliver the hold unto them that took Darius or Demetrius' part. Wherefore he sent a garrison there to keep it. Verse 35. After this came Jonathan home again and called the elders of the people together. He consulted with them about building a stronghold in Judea. I was just thinking that I wonder how stressed are they on resources at this point because
Mm-hmm.
they've been the good thing is they've been taking some things. So when you beat somebody, of course you get to take their stuff. So that's
You
plus.
know, it's wild out. When I was reading this the other night, I said the same thing, and I planned on speaking to you about that. How because Jonathan is able to raise an army,
Yeah.
giving them money. We can read that. I read that at one other spot in this as well.
Uh-huh.
So like, where was he getting the money from? And it was from the pillaging that he had
Yeah.
done against the Arabians and
Yeah.
the Sabians. You
Yeah.
know.
Kind. Yeah, that's the spoils of war. You get that. So, verse 36, and making the walls of Jerusalem higher and raising a great mount between the towers of the city, for to separate it from the city. This so it might be alone. The men might neither sell nor buy in it. Upon this, they came together and built up the city, for as much as part of the walls, their walls towards the brook of the east side were fallen down. They repaired that which was called uh, Kappa, Kaphinatha. And verse 38. Simon also set up uh, Adiah and Sihela and made it strong.
Sepella.
Sifela, okay, Sifela, and made it strong with gates and bars. So yeah, he definitely putting some work in building up things and getting things in order. So uh, now uh, Trifon went about to get the kingdom of Asia and to kill Antiochus the king, that he might set the crown upon his own head. So this dude want to take over. Howbeit, he was afraid of Jonathan, that Jonathan would not suffer him, and that he would fight against him. Wherefore he sought a way how to take Jonathan, that he might kill him. So he removed and came to Besan. And Jonathan went out to meet him with 40,000 men chosen for battle, and came to Beshan. So Jonathan like, oh, you heard about me? Well, you about to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Trifon saw Jonathan came with a great force, saw a great force, he durst not stretch his hand against him. Like, look, man, I don't know problems. I ain't fooling with y'all Israelites, man. Y'all something else. Verse 43. But received him honorably and comforted him unto his friends and gave him gifts and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself. So what I see here, Aki, and gave him gifts. What does
Kind
teach us? A
What's that?
gift. So what does wisdom teach us?
Our
A
gift spoileth the heart.
kind. So he's setting them up for a softening. Like, all right, let's let your arms down. We friends. Remember, I gave you that gift. I gave you these things. You know, we cool. We good. Until
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, until you get a little comfortable. Continue here, verse 44. Unto Jonathan also he said, what have you brought all the people to this great trouble, seeing that there is no war between us? Oh boy, look at here. Verse 45. Therefore, send them now home again and choose a few men to wait on you, and come with me to uh, Pelimas,
Plutonians.
Petonius.
Mm-hmm.
I messed that up completely. For I will give it you, and the rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge. As for me, I will return and depart from this is the cause of my coming. So
Kind
go ahead, Aki.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say, so you know, he's really baited him, and see, if Jonathan would have had that ruach of he had the ruach of war, but if he would have stuck with that, he would have
Mm-hmm.
said, "Give me your stuff, or I'm gonna take your head," and
Yeah.
he would have had to hand it over, and this wouldn't even been an issue.
And and we were talking about this earlier before the call.
Yeah.
See, you and I have Ecclesiastes or the book of Sirach,
Uh,
chapter 12 and verse
yeah.
10. but I'm not certain if Jonathan had it. But Sirach chapter 12, verse 10 reads, never trust your enemy, for like as iron rust, so is his wickedness.
Yeah.
So, it's possible that this was written because of this situation with Jonathan,
Yeah.
you know?
Very well. Very well. Man, let me put that on the screen right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. He's going to prove himself to be wicked. So yeah, don't fall into that. Don't fall into that. All right, continuing here, verse 46. So Jonathan believed him, did as he bade him, and sent away his host, who went into the land of Judea. And with himself he remained but 1,000 men, of whom he sent 2,000 unto Galilee, and 1,000 with him, went with him. Verse 48. Now, as soon as Jonathan entered into Pelamos, he and Pelamosius shut the gate and took him, and all them that came with him, and slew them with the sword. Dang. Now
Mm-hmm.
imagine, like you, real quick. Imagine you were this part of this host that went home. Your leader stays, and 1,000 men with him, and you find out that they've all been slain with the sword. Imagine, like, we was just there. We could
God.
have. They was in our hand, and instead, oh my goodness, that's heartbreaking. That's beyond heartbreaking. You done already lost your Hooters, and now your Jonathan. Oh my goodness. But continuing here, verse 49. Then went Typhon, the host of the footmen and horsemen, unto Galilee and unto the great plains, to destroy all of Jonathan's company. But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another and went close together, prepared to fight. Like, they did what? It's on now.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 51. They therefore that fell upon them. It's like it. They therefore that followed upon them perceived that they were ready to fight for their lives, turned back again. Like, look, let's get them. Like, no, they prepared. We can't take these guys. They prepared. So they look for those soft targets. And there's another
Right.
thing you need to remember. When you come in with your guard down and you just, be ready to resist, be ready to give them force. Because as soon as you ready to drop them hands and get comfortable, guess what? That's when they got you. Verse 52.
Mm-hmm.
Whereupon they all came unto the land of Judea peaceably, and there were bewailed Jonathan and them that were with him, and they were sore afraid. Wherefore all of Israel made a great lamentation. And Slacky, I'm tired of lamenting. I'm tired of lamenting. I'm
God.
tired of lamenting. Honestly, we read so many times that we had to lament because our adversaries have taken advantage of us, have put us to flight, have destroyed us, have taken our leadership and destroyed our people. And we always lament. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't lament when bad things happen, but let's focus on not letting bad things happen, instead making bad things happen to our adversaries. Change our mindset. Continue in verse 53. Now all the heathen that were round about then sought to destroy them, for said they have no captain, nor any to help them. Now therefore let us make war upon them, and take away the memorial from among men. So now they ready to get us out of here and
Mhm.
wipe us off the memories of mankind. Verse oh, this jumped to chapter two, or book two.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
con. You know, we
Continue.
were we were just gonna do a quick breakdown now. You know, they didn't kill just a synopsis. They didn't kill Jonathan immediately.
Yeah.
They used him as a pawn to kind of bait his brother Simon, who went on to become the high priest and governor of the land. Uh, they sent letters to Simon telling him, we're gonna let Jonathan go, but send us two of his sons
Mm.
and his wives. And Simon, uh, fearing the people would say it's your fault that your brother's dead, he went on and consented to that and allowed uh, Jonathan's sons to go there with Demetrius as well. And a short time later, after this, they do indeed kill Jonathan. So they never hold up their end of the bargain, which is why we're instructed to never trust our enemies. And I love you a great deal.
Yeah.
Uh, However, if you are captured behind enemy lines,
Yeah.
I'm telling you now,
Yeah.
don't allow yourself to be taken.
No.
You
No.
fight till you die,
Exactly.
because I'm not gonna give up your sons and your wives.
No. Definitely not.
I,
Definitely.
I don't expect you to do that for me.
I wouldn't want you to. I've been honest
Yeah,
with you, and I wouldn't give
yeah,
up your. I certainly wouldn't give up your children either. That's unheard of. And in any circumstance, any situation, if anything, bring the host, knock on the door, and say, "Yeah, we're here," and
right, right.
take
I'll
them.
do that. I'll
Yeah,
do
take
that.
them
I'll
full
go to war for you.
power.
You know.
Take them full power, because our adversaries have no code. There is no code for them to adhere to. So they are not going to operate how we operate. So yeah, man, I hate that. That's yeah, that's terrible. All right,
But
so we would. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so the battles continue in the land, and we read that continue. And I think there's only four chapters left in this book. But like I said, it's the battles continue, the saga continued. Uh, I do want to bring out uh, that the Most High sends help. The
Yeah,
Most High sends help in the form of however He chooses to do so.
right.
Uh, and part of the help that we didn't read about in First Maccabees was him sending the Maliks, the Malakim,
Mm,
to fight with the Yahudim and
right,
actually put hands on some of these heathen. But I do want to read that.
yeah. Right. So that's we picking it up at chapter 3.
Yeah, Khan.
Okay, no sweat. All right, so we continue in Second Maccabees chapter 3, verse 1. It says, let me get back to the other view. Okay. It says, now when the Kodesh city was inhabited with all shalom, and the Torah there was kept very well, because of the goodness of Onis, the high priest, and he hated his hatred of wickedness. You see what happens? Now things about to turn around because you got righteousness prevailing right in the city. So you can tell right at the gate, right in verse 1, that things about to turn around. Verse 2, and it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnified the temple with their best gifts, in so much that Seleucus of Asia and his own revenue bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. So
Khan. So this Seleucus
yeah,
was one of Alexander the Greek's generals that
okay,
took over domain of this kingdom, and this kingdom bear his name. It was
mm,
called the Seleucid Kingdom. which was a Greek kingdom in Asia. And this is where Antiochus comes from. This is where Demetrius comes from. Tryphon. They were all a part of this Seleucid Empire and descendants of this Seleucid king, being one of Alexander the Greek's generals. So this is shortly before Antiochus takes control, or this is before we read of some of those acts that we read in the first chapter. This is just giving us a breakdown of what had occurred before. And we're reading here that this Greek king paid homage to the temple at one point. But, we know that things changed at some point.
Right. Kind. Okay. Continuing here, verse 4. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about the disorder of the city, or in the city. And when he could not overcome Onius, Slaki, he got him to that's a evil name there. The son of we're not gonna say that either. Who then was governor of whatever that is, and Phineas. Verse 6, Slaki. And told him that the treasure of Jerusalem was full of in infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifice, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring uh, all the things of the king into the king's hand. So is this a knucklehead Israelite starting
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
stuff? Oh my
Indeed.
goodness. Well, I'll tell you, our people something else. Verse 7. Now when that wicked person came to the king, and he shewed himself unto the money therefore thereof, he was told the king chose out Herodias, his treasurer. Well, that's not Herodias. What is that? Hilodius? So I was close.
Yeah,
His,
con.
his treasurer, and set him in the commandment with the commandment to bring him to the foresaid money. Like, what is money at? We're supposed to be seeing here. Verse 8. So therefore, Herodias took his journey under the color of visiting the city of Sil, uh, Silceria and Phineas, but indeed fulfilled the king's purpose. So, man, I'm talking about the wickedness of these non-code keeping or non-code having other nations, and here is a knucklehead Israelite Yahudim selling out his people because he don't like the Torah being kept. Is that what I read? Is that what I understood?
Yeah, con. Indeed.
Wow, wow.
And it's we've got some Negroes that walk amongst us now, like not professing to be Israelites,
Right,
but they're in the church that
right.
secretly hate the Most High and His laws, and would do anything in their power to keep others from trying to follow after righteousness. All right.
My goodness. Most High, have mercy. Continuing, verse 9. And when he was come to Jerusalem, he had been uh, courteously received of the high priest of the city, and told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared therefore wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. And the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to uh, Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, the man of a man of great dignity, and was not that wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all the 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. So 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. That's that's a little sum of money, but that's not like it's not uncountable riches. That's not like he tried to make it like it was something world changing. Uh, let's continue. And that it was altogether possible that such wrongs should be done unto them, and had committed to the codiciousness of the place, and to the majesty of and in involvement, inviolable uh, sanctities of the temple, honorable over all the world, honored over all the world. Slacking. Verse 13. But Herodias, uh, being the king of being the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought to the king's treasury. You're like, okay, but I got to take it to the king. Or verse 14. So at at the day which he was appointed, he entered in the order of this manner. Wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests prostrated themselves before the altar in their priestly vestments, called unto Shamaim upon him, and made a Torah concerning things given to him kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. So they praying for assistance, that they would keep the
Hmm.
things they had, for them to be kept. All praises, man. I'm thankful that somebody, you know, called on the Most High for assistance. Verse,
Indeed,
yeah,
and that's when we are walking in righteousness,
right,
being able to call upon the Most High and Him answer
yeah,
according to His will is
yeah.
uh is one of those blessings that He bestows upon us. All right? And
Uh,
we're gonna read it here.
verse 16, indeed. Then whoso had looked on the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, and his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. Verse 17. For the man who was compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifested to them that looked upon him, what sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran Slaki. Others ran flocking out of their houses in the general supplication, because of the place was like to come unto the contempt, to come unto contempt. And the woman girded her sackcloth under her breast, abound in the streets, and the virgins were kept to run. Some of the gates and some of the walls, and others looked out of their windows. So it look like everybody's interested in what's going on. Verse 20. And all holding their hands toward Shamaim made supplication. It would have pitched a man to see the fall down of the multitude from all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such agony. Verse 22. They then called upon El Shaddai Yahweh to keep the things committed to trade safe and sure for those that, had committed them. that had committed them. I read that right. Nevertheless, Herodias excused that which he decreed, or executed that which he decreed. So he said, "Yeah, I'm here for this, but I got to
Hmm.
take this anyway." Verse 24. Now, as he was there presenting himself with the guards about the treasurer, uh, Yahweh of spirit and the prince of all power caused a great uh, ap- apparition, so that
Hmm.
all the uh, performing uh,
I
presumed,
presume.
for
Hmm.
all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High, and fainted and were so afraid. Verse 25. For they appeared unto them and horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with very fair covering, and he ran fiercely and smote Helonius with a forefoot. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. Had a complete harness of gold. Wow. So this looks like some intervention here. Some what's the term for supernatural intervention?
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All praise.
Hmm.
Verse 26. Moreover, two younger men appeared before him, noble in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in appearance, who stood by him on either side and scourged him continually, and gave many more stripes. Verse 37. And Herodias fell suddenly unto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him onto a litter. Thus he that lately came into the great in with a great train and with all his guards uh unto the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and magnified them they not Slaki, and magnificently they acknowledged the power of the Most High. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and laid speechless without all hope of life. But they praised Yahweh that had miraculously honored their own place of the temple, which is little afar, was full of fear and trouble, that El Shaddai Yahweh appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Verse 31. Uh, then straight then straightway certain of Jehoiada's friends prayed honest that he would call upon the high priest upon high to grant him his life, and lay ready to give up the ghost. So is he asking them to save this wicked man?
Indeed,
Are
indeed,
you
he is.
are you crazy? So the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Herodias by the Yahudim, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Oh my goodness! The Most High just delivered this man to. I I'm reading this. Slacky. Let me continue. Okay, we'll have to talk about that offline. Verse 33. Verse 33. Now as the high priest was making an atonement, and said young men the same young men who had some clothing apparel, and stood beside Herodias, saying, give Onus the high priest great thanks, insomuch uh, as for his sake Yahweh have granted you life. Verse 34, and seeing that you have now scourged from Shamaim, declaring unto all men the power of the Most High, and when they had spoken these words, there appeared no more. They appeared no more. So Herodias, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Most High, unto Yahweh, had made 2 vows unto him that saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with the host of the king. His host to the king, or with his host to the king. So he went back to the king. I said that wrong. Verse 36. Then testified all the men the works of the great Most High, which they had seen with their eyes. And when King Herodias, and when the king Herodias, who might be a fit man uh, to be sent yet again to Jerusalem, he said, if you have our enemies or traitors, send him there, and you shall receive him well scourged. If he escape with his life, for in that place, no doubt that and a special power of the Most High. So, wow. Verse 39. For he that dwell in Shamaim have his eye on that place and defend it, and the brethren and beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. Verse 40. And the things concerning Helotus and the keeping of the treasury fell out of this sort. And the things concerning Helotus and the my bad, I didn't switch. Oh, that's it?
Con, I believe so. Yep,
Oh,
it's next.
okay. It didn't even go to the next one. It just stayed right there. Okay. All right. Uh, yeah, so that's man, that's good stuff, because when you consider that, at worst case scenario, here I was mentioning earlier, getting in contact with the Northern Kingdom so they can come and help, and yet, uh, you get in contact with the Most High, and He sends help and take this man down to a place where he was done for. So rather than deal with that, um, they interceded on the man's behalf and restored life to him, which is amazing to think about. This is your adversary, and you're gonna pray to your power for help, and then after he's destroyed, you're gonna pray that he's restored to keep the peace, or to try to keep some semblance of peace. And yeah, so knowing this, man, that should make the understanding of the Yahudim, of the children of Israel, uh, fearful in the hearts of man. Like you should not even think to touch or to cast your eye even wickedly upon this people. But if we call on our power, He will deliver us in any means. You don't know how He's going to deliver us.
All
And,
praises.
yeah, Khan. So that's
And we can read that in another spot as well. Like, go to Second Maccabees chapter 5. We'll see what these Greeks were witnessing. The power of Yasharal doing.
Kind.
But yeah, Second Maccabees chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. All right.
Okay, kind. Second Maccabees chapter 5 and verse 1. About the same time, Antiochus, am I on the right? Yeah, kind. Uh, Antiochus prepared his second voyage unto Mizraim. And then it happened that through all the city, let me make this bigger again, slacking. Uh, then it happened through all the city that the space almost of 40 days there was seen horsemen running in the air in cloth of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers. Verse 3. And troops of horsemen in array encountered running one against another and shaking of shields and multitude of pikes and drawing of swords and casting of darts and uh, glittering of gold ornaments and hairless of all sorts. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore every man prayed that appointed might turn to good. Verse 5. Now when they when there was gone forth a false rumor as through Antiochus had been dead, Jason took at the least 1,000 men and suddenly made an assault upon the city, and they that were upon the walls began putting back, and the city lengthened them, slacking, and the city at length take uh, Meneled fled unto the castle.
Con. So again, our people beseeching our power to
Mm-hmm.
help us, and him showing up. But this is not the only place that we can read this. Again, I go to Second Maccabees chapter 10 and begin reading at verse 25.
Okay. Second Maccabees chapter 10.
Or begin reading at verse 24.
Okay. Okay. Second Maccabees chapter 10 and verse 24. Now Thermosius, whom the Yahudim had come over before, when he had gathered a great multitude of foreign forces and horses out of Asia, not a few came as though he had taken Uri from the force of arms.
Right. So this man, being a Greek, our people had beat him in battle before, but he's gone back to the drawing board and come back with more forces, more troops to come against us. Continue.
Verse 25. But when he drew near, there were with Maccabees turned themselves
They that were with.
slacking. But when he drew near, they that were with Maccabees turned themselves and prayed to the Most High, and sprinkled earth upon their heads, and girded their loins with sackcloth,
Mm-hmm.
and fell down at the foot of the altar, and besought him to be merciful to them, and to be an enemy to their enemies, and an adversary to their adversaries, as the Torah declares.
Hallelujah.
All
So
praise.
I'm so thankful that we have this out, because we didn't grow up reading the Apocrypha.
Right,
The message that the pastors told us was that we should pray for our enemies.
right.
And you know, that's not what the Torah says.
No.
That scripture right there that the pastors would tell us was a misinterpretation of what was really truly being said.
Right,
We pray for our brothers who hate us without cause.
right.
But for these heathen that hate us without cause, Most High, be an enemy to them. Be an adversary to them that go against your people.
Indeed. Take them down, pull them down, and make their
Come.
Yes, indeed. All praises. All
Continue,
praises.
Art.
Verse 27. So after the prayer, they took their weapons and went on further from the city. And when they drew near to their enemies, they kept by themselves. Verse 28. Now the sun being newly risen, they joined both together, the one part having together with venture, with the virtue their refuge also upon unto Yahweh for the plague of their success and victory, and the other side making their rage leader of their battle. Verse 29. But when the battle waxed strong, there appeared unto their enemies from Shamaim 5 comely men upon horses, uh, with with girdles of gold, and two of them led the Yahudim. Verse 30. And took Maccabeus between them and covered him on every side, weapons, and kept him safe, but shot arrows and lightning against the enemies, so that being confounded with blindness and filled with trouble, they were killed. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Verse
Con Art.
31. All praises to the Most High. Verse 31. And there was slain of footmen 20,500 and 600 horsemen.
Hallelujah.
20,600. Wow.
Yeah. And I just wanted us to read that because in First Maccabees, we're reading about how the Maccabees were outnumbered
Right.
by these Greek forces. However, they were putting these Greek forces to flight.
Right.
In Second Maccabees, we see how that was happening. You know,
Right.
these brothers being dedicated to the law, you know, keeping the
Right.
commandments, beseeching the Most High for help, and he shows up for them and
Wow.
excuse me and drives the enemy back. Man, all praises to the Most High for all that he has done, all that he's doing, and all that he will do. All
Wow.
praises, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes, indeed. This was magnificent, Aki. I hope, I pray that the nation of Israel is encouraged in this reading, in this understanding. I apologize for stumbling over a few words, but I do hope that you got the gist of this information and know that though we be scattered through the lands of our captivity, that the Most High, as was with them, is with us here and now. And so we have no one to fear, but to make sure that we keep the laws, statutes, and the commandments of our power, and nothing shall overcome us by any means. All praises to the Most High. Uh, we'll go ahead and is that everything? Now, can we need anything else?
Yeah, indeed, indeed. You know, perhaps if we I don't know, might come back to this. Well, we know we'll come back to this here in a couple of months,
Yeah,
reading about the destruction of Nicanor.
yeah,
Uh will and then you know that as well as Purim, you know, so we got a few days of feast in the 12th month. So Abba willing, you know, we can get back into this word.
all praises, all praises. Yes, indeed. Hallelujah. Yes, indeed. I hope you have learned a great deal and are prepared mentally and mostly spiritually uh, for the protection of the Abba, as He is our protector. And we don't have to worry about anybody else being our protector because He has taken on that job and will send assistance for us. All praises. We'll go ahead and close it on out. I do want to, as always, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahweh, Bashem, HaMashiach, Wa Malak, Yahweh Shai, and to the 12 tribes of Israel, who are scattered to the four corners of the earth. I say shalom wa baruchim. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day when the Most High brings us back together. We are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant, back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone, with our enemies, our adversaries, and all those who hate us under our feet. Until that day come, shalom, family.
Shalom, Miss Paka.
All praises to the Most High. Praise you, Abba Yah, Kwam Yasha'Allah,
Kwam Yashala.
and Barak Hashem Yahweh.